sent over this Euronews article all about the AI Action Summit in Paris. Seems like it was the place to be for, well, anyone who's serious about AI, right? What were some of the big things you saw?
Oh, it was definitely nonstop, that's for sure. And, you know, this summit, it wasn't just about showing off cool tech. It felt like, almost like a global power play. You know, like it was unfolding right there in front of us.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. The article mentioned some huge investment, like what was it, 150 billion? What's that all about?
Yeah, so that number, it's basically a bunch of European companies, over 60 of them actually. And we're talking big names like Airbus, Spotify. They're all pooling resources, trying to, I guess you could say, develop their own AI muscle.
So it's not just about throwing money around, right? It's about Europe wanting to be a real player in the AI game.
Exactly. They kept using this phrase, economic sovereignty, which basically means they don't want to have to rely on other countries for, well, for this tech, you know. It's critical stuff. It's about control, influence, even national security when you really think about it.
And it seems like France is really taking that idea and running with it. The article mentioned President Macron announcing a, what was it, 109 billion investment just for France. What's their plan?
Oh, they're aiming high, that's for sure. Macron actually compared it to, get this, the U.S. Stargate project.
Wait, the one where they tried to predict the future with, like, psychic powers?
That's the one, which didn't really work out, if you remember. So, I mean, the comparison itself, it kind of suggests a level of ambition that, well, might be hard to pull off.
Wow, psychic powers, huh? Talk about setting the bar high. But, okay, jokes aside, what are they actually, doing? What are the concrete steps?
Well, they're planning on building Europe's largest data center campus. And get this, they've got funding from the UAE for it, which is interesting. That kind of infrastructure, it's basically the foundation for training and running all the really powerful AI systems.
It's a bit of a land grab, I guess.
Yeah.
Securing resources, trying to attract talent. The article also mentioned something called Current AI, this foundation. What are they all about?
Current AI, now they're interesting. See, they're starting with a $400 million investment, but not to build some fancy new AI model. Their focus is on making AI development more open, more accessible. And they're really concerned about, the potential negative impacts of AI on society, on the environment. They're trying to steer things in a more responsible direction, I'd say.
So it's like they're trying to set some ground rules before things get, out of control.
Yeah, you could say that. They want to make sure that AI development benefits everyone, not just, the big tech companies or governments. Oh, and speaking of potential downsides, there's this initiative called Roost. They're developing open source tools that actually use AI to fight, online threats, like child sexual abuse material, that sort of thing.
Wow, that's a powerful example of using AI for good, that's for sure. It's not all about self-driving cars and robots taking over.
No, definitely not. It's a good reminder that AI is a tool. Really. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. Roost is basically showing how we can use AI to tackle problems that are, well, incredibly difficult to address with traditional methods.
Okay, last thing from the article. It mentioned this French AI startup, Mistral AI, and they're teaming up with some defense tech company, Helsing. What's that about?
Now, this is where things get really interesting, I think. They're working on AI systems specifically for defense platforms. So think, autonomous drones, AI-powered cyber defense, that sort of thing.
So AI is going, what, full-on sci-fi thriller on us? I mean, what are the implications of that?
Well, it definitely brings up all kinds of questions, about the future of warfare, the role of humans in combat, and the potential for things to go wrong, unintended consequences. It's something we'll need to keep a very close eye on.
No doubt about that. So we've got massive investments, initiatives focused on the societal impact of AI, and now AI is being used in, defense? This summit really shows just how fast the AI landscape is changing.
And how high the stakes are getting. It's clear Europe is trying to, become a major player in this global AI race. But there are a lot of factors at play.
It's not just about, who has the most money or the coolest tech, is it?
Right. It's about shaping the future of AI in a way that, well, aligns with their values, their vision. What kind of AI world do they want to build? And that brings up a whole other set of challenges.
Like what? What kind of challenges?
Well, one big one is going to be attracting and keeping the top AI talent. I mean, the competition for skilled engineers and researchers, it's fierce. A lot of them are drawn to the US or China, where the salaries and resources are, well, they're often better, let's be honest.
So even with all this funding, They still have to, what, compete for the best and brightest.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about having money. It's about creating an environment where people feel, inspired and supported to do their best work. Europe's got a strong research tradition, but they need to turn that into a thriving AI industry if they want to be a real leader.
That makes sense. So it's not just a technological race, it's a talent race, too.
Exactly. And it's a race that's going to have a huge impact on the future of Europe and the world, really.
All right, so we've talked about the big money, the race for talent, and now even AI being used in defense. But what about everyday people? How's all this going to impact, the average person's life?
That's the real question, isn't it? And that's what we'll explore next time. We'll dive into how AI could transform, well, everything, really. Education, healthcare, even the way we interact with each other and the world around us.
Sounds fascinating. I'm ready when you are.
Welcome back. Ready to explore how this whole AI revolution thing might actually play out in our daily lives.
Definitely. In the last part, we talked about like all those big, ambitious AI goals and the huge investments. But like, how will all that really impact, just the average person?
Well, one area where I think we're already starting to see AI's influence is education.
Education.
Yeah, imagine if every student had like their own personalized AI tutor, one that, adapts to their learning style, their pace. That's the kind of, I guess you could say, transformative potential AI holds for education.
Personalized AI tutors, huh?
Hmm.
Sounds pretty sci-fi to me.
Right.
But do you really think that could work? What about like the human element of teaching,
Right. It's not about replacing teachers completely. I mean, that wouldn't work. It's more about giving teachers these AI tools that can, empower them. Imagine teachers being freed up from like all the repetitive tasks, grading and stuff. That would give them way more time to, focus on each student's needs, be more of a mentor. And AI could also help spot students who are, struggling early on so they can get the support they need.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's more about like humans and AI working together, not one taking over for the other.
Exactly. It's about combining the strengths of both, right, to create a much richer, more effective learning experience. And I think this whole idea of collaboration, it applies to healthcare too.
Well, yeah, speaking of healthcare, President Macron, he mentioned AI's role in, improving access to medical care. What exactly did he have in mind?
Well, he was talking about how AI could be used to like analyze medical images, things like x-rays and scans, and that could help doctors with diagnoses, especially in areas where there aren't enough specialists.
Mm.
AI could also be used to like personalize treatment plans based on a patient's, genetic profile and medical history. So much potential there.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like AI could totally change healthcare, make it, more efficient and accessible. But are there any, like, downsides? Anything we should be worried about?
Well, one thing that's really important is making sure these AI systems are trained on, data that's diverse and
Yeah.
representative of everyone. Otherwise, you run the risk of creating algorithms that, have built-in biases, and that could lead to like real disparities in care.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. It's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about how we use it and making sure it's used fairly.
Exactly. And that applies to other areas of life too. Think about like the potential impact of AI on jobs. I mean, some jobs are definitely going to be automated. There's no question about that. But AI will also create new opportunities, right? The key is to, I guess, adapt and prepare for those changes.
So it's not about, like, being scared of AI taking over all the jobs. It's more about focusing on the skills that will be, important in an AI-driven world.
Exactly. Things like, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and emotional intelligence, too. That's going to be huge. Those are the skills that'll be in demand as AI takes on more of the, routine tasks.
That makes sense. Okay, but beyond education and healthcare, how else might AI, change our everyday lives?
Well, think about how you interact with the world right now. Everything from like transportation to entertainment to, how we communicate. AI is already having a big impact on all those areas.
Okay, give me some examples. What's AI doing in transportation, for instance?
Self-driving cars, of course,
Yeah.
that's the big one. Imagine a world where, there are fewer accidents, less traffic, and it's easier for people who can't drive to get around.
Yeah, I could definitely get used to that. What about entertainment? How's AI changing things there?
AI is already being used to, personalize our entertainment experience,
Right.
recommending movies we might like, music, even creating whole new kinds of art and storytelling. Like, imagine virtual worlds that, respond to your choices, kind of blurring the line between reality and fiction.
Whoa, that's pretty mind-blowing. But isn't there a risk of, like, AI taking over too much? Yeah. Like shaping our tastes and preferences without us even realizing it.
It's definitely something to be aware of. As AI becomes more and more a part of our lives, we have to be mindful of its influence, make sure we're still making our own choices. AI should be a tool that helps us, not something that controls us.
So it's about finding that balance, right? Embracing the potential of AI, but still, stay in control.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's about understanding that AI isn't like this one big thing. It's a bunch of different tools and technologies, and we get to choose how we use them, in ways that fit with our values.
Well said. So we've talked about AI in education, healthcare, transportation, entertainment. It seems like AI really could touch every part of our lives.
It really does. And that brings us to, well, maybe the biggest question of all. What does this AI revolution mean for humanity itself? What does it mean to be human in a world where AI is, everywhere?
Oh, the big philosophical questions, huh? I guess that's what we'll have to explore in the final part of our deep dive.
That's right. We'll delve into how AI challenges our understanding of, what it means to be human. And it's a good reminder that we have to start thinking about, what kind of future we want to create, what kind of AI-powered world do we want to live in.
Okay, so back for the final part of our AI deep dive.
Uh-huh.
We've covered, like, everything from huge investments to AI tutors and self-driving cars. Now it's time to get, I don't know, a little more philosophical, I guess.
Yeah.
How does AI, all this stuff we've been talking about, how does it impact our understanding of what it even means to be human?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? As AI gets more and more sophisticated, really complex, it makes us think about what makes us, well, us, what makes humans unique, what sets us apart from these machines we're creating.
It's like almost like looking in a mirror, you know what I mean? You see this reflection
Yeah,
of our own intelligence, but it's in this totally different form. It makes you think about things like consciousness and creativity, even emotions. Are those things like really just human things? Or can AI learn to do those things too?
That's a debate people are having right now all over the place. Some people, they say that real consciousness or sentience, that it's like beyond AI, that there's something special about being human that you just can't program into a computer. But then others, they think it's just a matter of time before AI, surpasses human capabilities, like in every single way.
Yeah, it's both exciting and kind of scary to think about, to be honest. But no matter what side of that debate you're on, I think there's no denying that AI is already having a huge impact on like our lives and on our societies.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And as AI keeps evolving, it's going to keep bringing up these big questions about, well, about our values, ethics, maybe even our place in the universe, the big picture.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about like how we choose to use it, how we build it into our lives or societies.
Exactly. It's about shaping the future of AI in a way that, well, that fits with our human values, our hopes, our dreams even. It's about using this incredible tool to, I don't know, to make a better world for everyone, not just a few lucky people.
Absolutely. You mentioned responsible AI development earlier. What does that actually look like? I mean, what does it mean in practice?
Well, it starts with recognizing that AI isn't like inherently good or bad on its own. It's really just a reflection of, of us, the people who build it. It depends what we use it for. So responsible AI, I'd say it means being aware of those potential biases we talked about, making sure things are transparent and accountable. And I think this is the most important part. It means putting people first. Human well-being should always be the top priority.
That sounds like a pretty big challenge, honestly. How do we even like make sure those ethical considerations are actually part of the development process?
It takes a lot of different people working together. We need policymakers, researchers, the people actually building AI, and we need the public too. Everyone needs to be involved. We need to talk openly and honestly about the risks and the benefits of AI. And, we need to come up with some clear rules for how it's developed and how it's used.
So it's not just like the tech people off in their labs. It's a conversation we all need to be having.
Exactly. We all have a say in what the future of AI looks like. Everyone's voice needs to be heard.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about, that's for sure. As we wrap up our AI deep dive here, is there one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that AI, it's not some far off, sci-fi thing. It's here, it's happening now, and it's changing everything in big ways. The question isn't really if AI will change our lives, it's how. And that's up to us. We get to shape the future of AI, and that means we have a big responsibility, a really important one. We have to make sure it's a future that's good for everyone, for all of humanity. Thanks for having me.
It's been great having you. This has been a really fascinating discussion. And for all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.